Hello and welcome to another tutorial for Blender for Dummies 2nd edition. I'm Jason Van Gumster and I'm walking you through the awesome stuff. Now, this is a tutorial for the practical example at the end of Chapter 7. Before getting into it though, it's a good idea to set up a materials layout. One of the things that Blender currently doesn't ship with is a nice layout for working with materials. So, and here's a quick way to get around that, is making your own. In order to do that, first thing you need to do is create a new layout. So we're going to copy the default one and work our way from there. So to do that, hit the plus sign and it's named default. What we're going to do is we're going to name that materials. So now if you look in here, we have our materials layout. Now currently it looks just like the default layout, so it's not super helpful. So let's actually go ahead and do that. For the materials, you really don't need a timeline. So we're going to go over here, left click, drag, get rid of our timeline. What we do need, however, I'm going to get rid of our tool shelf as well, because that's not necessary. But what we do need is, we would need another properties editor. So I'm going to left click here and split and drag, like so. And I'm going to pull that a little wider. And I'm going to change this to a properties editor. Now to change this to a properties editor, you could just click here and go properties. But it's a lot faster just to go Shift F7 and do it that way. Now, we're going to change this to our material editor. Remember, you can scroll up here or middle click and drag to change that around. We're going to change this to our materials editor. I'm going to make that a touch wider so we can actually see all our settings. Now, the problem with the material editor is that if you're looking at your materials and you want to make a change, you scroll down, you lost your preview. It's kind of lame. So our way around that is we're actually going to split this properties editor one more time, scroll this up a little bit, and we have ourselves a handy dandy little preview at all times. And down here, this can be everything else. Over here, and just for one last little bonus thing, we're going to change this to our textures, which for materials, it's not a huge deal, but when we start working on textures, it's good to have this available for us to make some changes. So, now that we have this set up, we need to save this to our default settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, go back to our default layout. You could also do Control left arrow, and you get the same sort of thing. And then you do File, Save User Settings. And now every time we load Blender up, you have the same layout. And you'll always have your materials ready to go for you.